I'm here to tell you, you deserve to be rich. Hello and welcome. My name is Gino Barbaro, one of the co-founders of Jake and Gino. And in this video, it's one of my favorite topics, how to get rich in real estate. So if you want to learn how to get rich, what rich means to you, and how to create wealth in real estate, then you need to listen to this show. It's one of my favorite topics. You know why? It's because it was one of my dreams early on. I had been raised in a family of immigrants. My parents were both immigrants from Italy, and that was the American dream, to become rich, to become wealthy, to be able to retire. We opened a small business, and in 08, 09, a lot of you may remember it was difficult running that small business. So my dream became, how do I do it in real estate? How do I figure it out? I had made some bad decisions, bad mistakes, bad investments that held me back and put me back several years. I had lost a lot of money. So my dream was to become rich. But when I look back, what does that word rich mean? What does it mean to you? To me, rich was to be able to become financially free, to be able to pay my bills. But as I extrapolate that, and as I've continued my journey, that definition has just expanded into not only becoming rich and making a lot of money, but to be able to create long-term generational wealth and legacy wealth. Now, what I want you to do, as I'm saying this, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Why would you subscribe to the channel? One very simple reason. We added an amazing feature. We are going to be adding exclusive content to anyone who subscribes to the Jake and Gino channel on YouTube. We do weekly masterclasses with our community. I'm going to be uploading those onto the YouTube channel, and you're going to be getting exclusive content with our community, but alongside listening to experts like syndication attorneys, cost segregation specialists. You're going to be listening to Jake and I doing teaching. So if you want to get more content and really behind the scenes and learn more about multifamily and creating wealth, subscribe to the channel. Now let's get back. The first thing on getting rich is you have to create a plan. And don't do what I did early on and what a lot of investors do early on. Do not think of this as just an investment. You're buying a building. No, you're buying a business. That's amazing. Every deal that you do is a future. You should actually be looking into it as a future stream of revenue. So think about it as income over expenses. NOI. And if you do, all of a sudden things start to change. You start seeing these as little cash monsters, whether it's a 4-unit or a 400 unit. All of a sudden you start looking at it differently. That's how you become rich. That's how you become wealthy. Because the vast majority of wealth in this country, they say is created by real estate and businesses. But what people fail to realize is that real estate is a business. So the vast majority of wealth is created by business. So start looking at real estate as a business. I didn't do that. All I thought about was, hey, how much cash flow can I get every month? That's only one part of the equation. Let me say this to you, and I want you to write this quote down, and I want you to live and breathe by this quote because it's so important. Cash flow gets you out of your job, and it did for me, but equity keeps you out of your job. Boy, it's nice making 10 or 15 or 20 grand a month in cash flow with real estate. Listen, it's awesome. Your bill's paid. But when you get a $600,000 refi check, that is life-changing. You can pay some bills there. You can go on vacation. You can put money into the next deal. 10 grand's nice, but 600 grand is what we're trying to do, because then you get that 600 grand and you're going to be putting it back in. So this is the next point. As I'm finishing that thought process, the job when you're starting out to become rich in real estate is you want to create equity. Now you can create equity by using other people's money. You can create equity by using, seller financing, master lease options. You don't have equity yourself, but you're creating equity in that property. Then the goal is to extract that equity out of the property, whether it's through a sale or through a refinance. So let's say you bought this property for $1 million. Now it's worth $2 million. If you're able to refinance $500,000 out of that property, you're able to pull that out and you put it into another deal, and that deal makes 8% Well, on that $500,000, you're making $40,000 a year. So don't listen to anybody saying, hey, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. Yes, you need cash flow, but early on, I needed to build up that equity to be able to go out and to create more cash flow. Go and listen to the how-to that we have on the conveyor belt theory. It explains this really well. Starting to buy assets, wanting to get them on this imaginary conveyor belt so the equity matriculates. You pull that equity out. That's important. Now, other things you need to do when you are trying to become rich in real estate. And listen, anybody can do this. Jake was a pharmaceutical sales rep with no experience in entrepreneurship. I was a pizza guy working at a restaurant. One thing that we needed was patience that we had very little of, but we still needed it. I still needed to learn how to actually invest in real estate, how to build a multifamily business. I didn't know that. It took me a while to understand that and to learn that because I didn't have our framework of buy right, manage right, and finance right. Patience. It took us 18 months to find our first deal. But through that patience, through that persistence, guess what happened? 3 months after that, we bought our second deal. So your journey may look like this for the first year. And then all of a sudden, month 13, you got a deal. Then month 16, you got another deal. Then month 19, you got a third deal. That's exactly what happened to Jake and myself. That patience does pay off. And depending on where you are in the market cycle, these last 18 months have been difficult for a lot of people out there. There's been very little deal flow. Now, fortunately for us, we've been blessed. We did 3 deals, over 300 units in 2023. We've done over $25 million in transactions, 4 deals this year. It's because we've been patient. We've been planting seeds. I want you to think of yourself in any business, and this is very relevant to multifamily, but if you're out there buying a business, you need to think of yourself as the farmer. Listen, I'm Italian. I love growing tomatoes, but I don't just wake up one morning and say, hey, here are the tomatoes. No. I need to plant the seeds well in advance. I need to water the seeds. I need to till the soil, make sure there's enough fertilizer. I need to make sure that there's no weeds. And as the tomatoes grow, you're training them up. You're tying them, as my father would do. You'd break off the suckers so you make the other vines and other roots stronger. And that's exactly what you're doing with the business. It takes patience. It may take 3 months to grow tomatoes. It may take 9 months or a year to reposition a multifamily property. But if you don't have patience and you're expecting to make it tomorrow, you will fail. Now, this is a great quote that I heard on our podcast on the Jake and Gino show a couple weeks ago. And it was from John Maxwell. One of the guests mentioned it, and I love it. But listen to this and write this down as well. This is important. People want to do what you do, but they don't want to do what you did. They don't want to do what you did. Find out what people who are rich are doing, like myself, and then just follow it and do what I did. So that first thing is the cash flow. The second thing is the patience. The next one that's really important when you're building a business, whatever business it is, whether it's multifamily, buying a business, buying a self-storage, you need to follow a process or a framework that works, that's proven. We call it buy right, manage right, and finance right. Once you follow that process, it's replicatable. And the real way to build wealth in real estate is to understand an exit strategy. You need to really learn when you're buying this asset, what are you doing at the finish line? Because you don't have to buy the deal. But once you buy the deal, how are you going to end the deal? Are you going to end up by holding it long term? Are you going to end up holding it by refinancing it? Are you going to sell the asset to pull the equity out? Or are you going to flip it short term? Understanding that is going to help you to become rich in real estate. Understanding the buy right, the finance right, and the manage right. Let me go quick off on a topic on buy right because it's important on building the wealth aspect of it. When you're buying something, you're buying an asset, understand what your criteria is. Understand what your goals are that you want to accomplish. If you want to buy something longer term, well, please don't go out there and buy a 1920s asset that needs a lot of work that you're not willing to do and you're willing to flip it. Look at what that criteria means to you. There's no right or wrong answer, but you need to understand what you're buying, and you need to understand, once again, that word patience, and you need to understand to work on the business plan. So if you can do all of that, that's how you're creating wealth. Setting realistic goals. Set some realistic goals for yourself. If you're just getting into the business and you want to have $100,000 a month of cash flow coming in the next 2 or 3 years, it's probably not going to happen unless you've got millions of dollars of equity and you're already an experienced investor. Set realistic goals. I'm not saying don't deflate yourself, but hey, within the first 5 years of investing, realistically, if you're doing what I'm telling you, and if you're doing what Jake and Gino is teaching our community members, it's very realistic that you can leave your W-2 and do this full time. The next 12 months with no experience and no money, probably not. Once again, the patience aspect of it. You need to really set realistic goals. Also, when you're becoming, or you want to become rich in real estate, you need to be able to network and team build. Oh, Gino, I don't like to network. I'm an introvert. Well, guess what? So was I. I was that pizza guy hiding in the kitchen, washing dishes. The question you need to ask yourself is how much and how badly do you want it? I'm here to tell you, you deserve to be rich. God created you for something unique. We are all unique. That is a limiting belief. That's something that's holding you back. Once I understood that, hey, I'm not this pizza guy washing dishes. I was made for something better and something greater. Once you understand that, step out of the kitchen. Step into it. That doesn't mean you have to be the life of the party, but go out there, start networking, start becoming intentional. Use the acronym FORD if you don't know what to talk about. The acronym FORD in networking is talk about a person's family, talk about the occupation, talk about their recreations. What do they like to do? Do they like to fish? Do they like to hunt? Do they like to sing opera? And the D, dream. Just have a conversation. Start being curious about others. That's what networking is all about. Start being able to see how you can provide for others. And if you want to become rich, it is very difficult to become rich sitting in front of your computer all by yourself. You need to start networking, start meeting other people, and start building your team. Now, this last one, I can continue to go on, but I think I'm going to add this last one, and I'll give you two more. This next one, let's talk about tax benefits. Understanding the tax code in multifamily and in real estate is truly important. We did a podcast with Tom Wheelwright. Go on our YouTube channel, check it out. He talks about cost segregation, understanding the tax benefits that if you keep buying these assets and keep holding on to them, the cost segregation and the tax benefits are going to become in your favor. If you're refinancing properties, it's basically a loan to yourself. You're not paying back those proceeds to the government on taxes. We've refinanced over $25 million from our portfolio. We've been able to take that funds, those money, and bring it into the next deal. So understand the tax benefits in your business and specifically in real estate. And this last one, I think this is the one that really put gasoline on my fire. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I have a W-2 job, I want to leave as quickly as possible. Listen, it took me literally 5 years from the day that I started looking at deals with Jake. In 2011, we started looking for deals. In March of 2016, I left the restaurant. Now, you may say to yourself, why didn't you leave sooner? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, I had a family business. I just couldn't take off and leave. But that was the excuse I was telling myself. Really, I just wanted to be responsible enough that I had enough income coming in, that I had enough benefits of taxes coming from the real estate, and that I had enough cash flow, and that I had some liquidity or equity events going on. But more importantly, having that W-2 job, I was able to pay for my lifestyle. I had 6 kids. I was living in New York. Life wasn't cheap for me. If I had left that and gone full-time into real estate, all the money that I'd made in real estate, I'd have to live off of that. But no, what I did and what I think you should do, lay out the plan, work an extra couple of years, take the money from your W-2 or your job, whether it's you, your spouse, live off of that money and try to save as much of that as you can and have your W-2 help you qualify for loans. And while you're doing that, whatever money you're making in real estate, just push off the Lambo. Remember the quote? I love the quote. People want to do what you do, but do they want to do what you did? Those first 5 years, I was pretty austere. I was not spending a lot of money. Everything that I made in real estate, the refinances, the cash flow, I put it back into the real estate business. And ultimately, that created a snowball effect where I was able to replicate that. And then at one point, I left the restaurant. I sold out of it. In my real estate portfolio, I was able to generate more than enough money to live off of and to continue to get funds. And then from there, you run out of money. Then you look at syndication as another tool to invest. You look at seller financing as another tool to invest. But for me, ultimately, it's all about the foundation, laying the foundation. Go back and listen to this because this is the blueprint to become rich in real estate. Have patience, get educated, network, find amazing partners, reinvest your capital. We talk about baby money soldiers often at Jake and Gino. You don't want to kill your baby money soldiers prematurely and not allow them to procreate and to grow. That's how you get rich. Listen, I hope you enjoyed this podcast and how to become rich in real estate. I will see you all on next week's How To. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe so you'll never miss another episode.